नमस्कार, मैं हूं भावना और स्वागत करती हूं आपका द एस्पिरेंट्स क्लब के प्लेटफॉर्म पर। यहां हम लेकर आते हैं आपके लिए डेली न्यूज़पेपर डिस्कशंस और इसके साथ ही कुछ स्ट्रैटेजिक टिप्स और ट्रिक्स जो आपकी तैयारी को आसान बनाता है। तो आइए बढ़ते हैं आज के डिस्कशन की तरफ। तो आज का जो पहला आर्टिकल है वो रशियन ट्रेड हर्डल्स को डिस्कस करता है। हाल में ही हमने देखा जो रशिया और यूक्रेन का क्राइसिस है उसकी वजह से जो वर्ल्ड ट्रेड सिनेरियो है वो काफी ज्यादा अफेक्ट हुआ है। रशिया के लिए ये ट्रेड सिनेरियो इसलिए मुश्किल हो गया है क्योंकि वेस्ट ने जो है वो रशिया के ऊपर कई सारे सैंक्शंस लगाए हैं। जो रशियन बैंक्स हैं उनको स्विफ्ट नेटवर्क से बाहर कर दिया गया है और इसके साथ ही इंपोर्ट पर और जो एक्सपोर्ट पर जो है उस पर भी कई सारे सैंक्शंस लगाए हैं। एंड एज अ रिजल्ट वी कैन सी इन्फ्लेशन राइज इन द prices of crude oil, LPG and other things that can be understood consequentially out of all these things. अब इस बीच में इंडिया की तरफ से एक यहाँ पे जो है स्टेटमेंट आया है। जो इंडियन एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स मिनिस्टर हैं एस जयशंकर, उनका कहना है कि इंडियन फॉरेन पॉलिसी डिसीजंस आर मेड इन इंडियन नेशनल इंटरेस्ट एंड we are guided by our thinking, our views and our interest. So there is no question linking the Ukraine situation to issues of trade. एक बार इस प्रॉब्लम को जो है वो हम समझ लेते हैं। सिंस रशिया और यूक्रेन के क्राइसिस के बाद जो सैंक्शंस लगाए गए हैं उसके बाद इंडिया के लिए यूएस डॉलर में जो है रशिया से ट्रेड करना वो थोड़ा मुश्किल हो गया है। Now amidst all these things, on Thursday there was a statement that says that speaks about the indication of a possible revival of rupee ruble trade in the wake of economic sanctions against Russian banks and entities more than 40 US and European allies. तो रशिया के ऊपर जो सैंक्शंस लगाए गए हैं उसके बाद ये जो एक मिडिल ट्रेड सिस्टम था जो जिसके तहत जो है हम डॉलर में ट्रेड करते थे वो अब संभव नहीं हो सकता और इसकी वजह से जो रूपी रबल ट्रेड सिस्टम है उसके रिवाइवल की बात यहाँ पे की जा रही है। रूपी रबल ट्रेड सिस्टम क्या है इसको हम समझेंगे। इससे पहले ये जानते हैं कि रूपी जो है वो हमारा करेंसी है, आप लोग सब जानते हैं, और रबल जो है वो दैट इज अ रशियन करेंसी। Now, if I talk about the rupee ruble trade system, एक बार इसको समझ लेते हैं। ये कॉन्सेप्ट अगेन जो दो कंट्री का आपस का करेंसी ट्रेड सिस्टम होता है उसको समझना आपके लिए ज़रूरी है एग्जाम के पर्सपेक्टिव से। तो एक बार हम देखते हैं कि ये रूपी रबल ट्रेड सिस्टम जो है वो क्या है। ओके, तो कोई भी ऐसा ट्रेड मैकेनिज्म जो दो कंट्री की करेंसी को यूज करके जब हम ट्रेड करते हैं तो उन दोनों करेंसी को लिंक करके वो ट्रेड मैकेनिज्म जो है वो देखा जाता है। इस केस में द ट्रेड मैकेनिज्म दैट यूजेस द इंडियन रूपी एंड रशियन रबल मे बी फाइनलाइज्ड बाय द नेक्स्ट वीक as we talked about the revival here. And a rupee ruble trade will allow the two countries to trade directly without first using a currency like US dollar for a fair value. इसके पहले हम क्या करते थे, इसके पहले हम फेयर वैल्यूएशन के लिए एक अलग करेंसी जो है वो यूज करते थे एज अ स्टैंडर्ड एंड दैट वाज यूएस डॉलर। बट आफ्टर द एप्लीकेशन ऑफ sanctions and everything we can see here that rupee ruble trade is supposed to be revived, which is which is a trade mechanism that has been set between Indian and Russian currency. अब अगर बात करें कि क्या ये रूपी रबल ट्रेड मैकेनिज्म जो है ये नया है, तो जी नहीं। ये जो है 2014 में इंडिया और रशिया ने अग्री किया था कि वो रूपी और रबल ट्रेड के थ्रू जो है वो पेमेंट करेंगे। ये कब हुआ था? ये तब हुआ था जब रशिया के साथ अपनी डिफेंस डील की वजह से इंडिया को एक टफ सैंक्शन का सामना करना पड़ा था यूएस की तरफ से। तो तब जो है ये ट्रेड मैकेनिज्म जो है ये फाइनलाइज किया गया था जिसके की दोबारा रिवाइवल की जो संभावना है वो यहाँ पे बन रही है। तो दिस वाज अबाउट द ट्रेड। यहाँ पे हमने रूपी रबल ट्रेड मैकेनिज्म का कॉन्सेप्ट सीखा जो आपके लिए इम्पोर्टेंट है। अब अगर हम बात करें इससे लिंक्ड एक और आर्टिकल है दैट इज अबाउट इंडियाज एब्सटेंशन इन यूएनजीए। यूएनजीए आप सब जानते हैं दैट इज यूनाइटेड नेशंस जनरल असेंबली। अब अगर बात करें कॉन्टेक्स्ट की तो इंडिया ने थर्सडे को यूनाइटेड नेशन जनरल असेंबली में यूक्रेन के ऊपर जो एक रिजोल्यूशन था, ह्यूमैनिटेरियन क्राइसिस, मतलब वहाँ पे जो क्राइसिस हुआ है उसमें ह्यूमैनिटेरियन एड जो है वो पहुँचाने के लिए, उसमें वोटिंग से जो है इंडिया ने यहाँ पे एब्सटेन किया है। अब यहाँ पे कुछ चीज़ें, कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट्स हैं, उनको हम समझ लेते हैं। तो क्या okay, before that, there was one more comment box that I just forgot to, expand on. That if Russian currency is cheaper than Indian currency. So yes, currently the Russian ruble is cheaper than rupee, and that means India needs to pay less for its import from Russia. That is also something which is very informative, and you can keep it in your head. Okay, now coming to this article that India abstained to vote in UNGA. Now, if we talk about the responsibilities of providing humanitarian aid, तो कुछ UN entities हैं जो इस चीज़ का प्राइमरी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लेती हैं टू डिलीवर ह्यूमैनिटेरियन एड। तो हम समझते हैं कि वो जो एजेंसीज हैं, वो एंटिटीज हैं, वो कौन सी हैं, ये आपके एग्जाम के पर्सपेक्टिव से बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो सकता है। यू कैन कंसिडर इट एज अ preliminary information. So, what are these entities? These entities are United Nations Development Program, that is UNDP. Then you have United Nations Refugee Agency, that is UNHCR. Then you have United Nations Children Fund, UNICEF, and World Food Program, that is WFP. अब ये जो एंटिटीज है, इनका काम क्या है? इनका काम ये है कि जो वॉर टॉर्न स्टेट्स हैं वो उनको ह्यूमैनिटेरियन एड या फिर रिलीफ असिस्टेंस की डिलीवरी जो है वो कराती हैं। इसके अलावा अगर बात करें कि जो इमरजेंसी सिचुएशंस होती हैं उसमें रिलीफ असिस्टेंस कैसे प्रोवाइड किया जाता है, तो इसको कोऑर्डिनेट करने के लिए हमारे पास ओचा है, दैट इज Office for Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. Now, OCHA is a part of a UN Secretariat and it is responsible for coordinating responses to emergencies. Now, this is done through the Interagency Standing Committee, whose members include the UN system in entities who are mostly responsible for providing emergency fund. Now, OCHA का जो भी functioning है ये आपके लिए important है, you can keep in mind. ओके, ह्यूमैनिटेरियन एड्स और रिलीफ असिस्टेंस के लिए कौन कौन से एंटिटीज इंपॉर्टेंट हैं? अगेन दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फ्रॉम द पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ योर एग्जाम, स्पेशली द प्रीलिम्स perspective. So that is something that you can keep in your head. Now, if there might be a question that if there is a situation of emergency, so does UN Security Council has this authority to intervene and take military action? So, the UN Security Council has the authority to investigate the disputes and situations that lead to international friction. And out of that, it has the authority to determine the existence of a threat to peace or the acts of aggression and to recommend the necessary actions for that. Also, the UN Security Council has the authority to take military action to prevent or stop aggression. So, that is also something that you need to know, that whether UNSC can take military action or not. So, yes, it has the authority to do so in order to prevent the aggression. So, these were some of the important informations that you can take as a takeaway from this article. Again, something which is very, very important. This is it for this article. Now, there is a very small chota sa article here on the same page that speaks about Marathi has been it has made mandatory in local bodies. Again, this is something very informative, not really important for your exam perspective. So, the Maharashtra Assembly on Thursday passed a bill making use of Marathi language mandatory in all local authorities of the state. Now, this bill was moved following complaints about Marathi not being used in offices of local government authorities. Talking about the bill, so the bill brought in by the language department states that Marathi would be used for all official purposes as well as purposes related to public interface and public interest in all offices of the local authority. So this was just an information that you can retain. Now scrolling down, if the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi ji, he's supposed to take his oath today. You can see the timing. If you are in Lucknow, you can definitely attend the oath ceremony if you wish. And he is going to resume his second term after a remarkable victory of Bharatiya Janata Party in Uttar Pradesh. Now, yesterday, if you remember, we discussed an article about MCD reunification. We talked about the provision of MCD reunification, followed by a trifurcation at Sheila Dikshit Congress government. So now there are some statements related to it that it is not something that can handle the financial trouble. So emphasizing the effects post trifurcation, it has been said that apart from a bailout package that is anticipated from the center to knock off the liabilities of the corporation, the core issues in revenue generation will have to be addressed. And even prior to trifurcation, there were loans that were taken from the then Sheila Dikshit government to pay salaries to the staffers. So the situation was not something that was good even back then, and taking loans became something which were a reoccurring thing in the situation. Now, without addressing the issue in revenue generation and other core issues, the civic body. It is still in the financial trouble, and that was something which was addressed as a statement after the MCD reunification bill. Again, not something very substantial, but yes, informative. Since we dealt this article yesterday, I thought we can have a follow up on this. So next, moving forward to the next page, that is states. Again, nothing very significant today, mostly election news or, the coming governments and nothing really significant. Okay. So on page number 5, again, state news, we have a very important article that we are going to analyze today. That is, Supreme Court is keen on ending Mulla Periyar battle. So Mulla Periyar is a dam. We already dealt an article on this whole issue. But today we will be analyzing, very quick grab-ups about Mulla Periyar battle. We will be talking about its location, and why this issue is important for us to understand really from the perspective of our examination. So आगे बढ़ते हैं. तो सबसे पहले हम समझते हैं कि कहानी क्या है. उसके बाद हम बात करेंगे कंसेप्चुअली हमारे लिए जो भी इम्पोर्टेंट चीज़ें हैं यहाँ पे उसके बारे में. तो केरला, ये जो Malu Periyar battle है, this battle is being fought between two states, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. अब दोनों स्टेट का इशू क्या है? केरला का कहना ये है कि जो वाटर लेवल है इस डैम का, that should not go above 139 feet. This is the same that court has ordered on August 24, 2018. When the state was hit by floods, it is because the lives of 50 lakh people would be in danger if the water level of the dam is raised. लेकिन तमिलनाडु का ये कहना है, तमिलनाडु यहाँ पे ऑब्जेक्ट कर रहा है इस डिसीजन को, citing the Supreme Court judgments of 2006 and 2014, जिसने जो वाटर लेवल है उसका मैक्सिमाइजेशन 142 फीट जो है वो रखा था. तो उस डिसीजन को साइज करते हुए तमिलनाडु का ये कहना है कि वी विल कीप द वाटर लेवल बाय 142 फीट. ओके, अब एक बार अगर हम इस डैम का लोकेशन समझ लें, लेट मी enlarge this map for you a bit. So I hope this image is visible to all of you. अब अगर हम इस मैप को देखें तो आप देख सकते हैं कि ये जो है दिस इज Kerala and this is Tamil Nadu, and here by the boundary of Kerala you see it's Mulla Periyar Dam, and this is the Periyar Lake and followed by this is the this area covered by the Peria River. Okay, and this is the red mark you see, that's the border between these two states. Now, okay, तो या अब थोड़ी सी बात करते हैं सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जो इंटरवेंशन था उसके बारे में. सो सुप्रीम कोर्ट कॉन्स्टिट्यूटेड अ परमानेंट सुपरवाइजरी कमिटी इन 2014 to oversee the issues concerning Mulla Peria Dam. Now this dam has been a source of friction between these two states. और अभी recently why this dam is in the news. So, the Supreme Court on March 24, it said that it is keen to end once and for all this, battle about Mulla Peria Dam, which is लगभग 126 year old डैम. ये लगभग 126 साल जो है ये डैम जो है ये पुराना है. ओके, अब थोड़ी सी बात हम करते हैं मुल्ला पेरियार डैम के बारे में, थिंग्स दैट यू नीड टू नो. So, although this dam is located in Kerala, it is operated by Tamil Nadu following an 1886 lease indenture for 999 years. And this agreement was the Periyar Lake Lease Agreement. Now, that was signed between Maharaja of Travancore at the time and Secretary of State of India for the Periyar irrigation work. अब अगर बात करें कंस्ट्रक्शन की तो दिस डैम वाज कंस्ट्रक्टेड बिटवीन 1887 and 1895 and it was redirected. Just wait a sec. Yeah, sorry. So the dam redirected the river to flow towards Bay of Bengal instead of the Arabian Sea and provided water to arid rain region of Madurai in Madras Presidency. So this was something that you need to know about the lease agreement and it's the flow of the river about Mulla Peria Dam. Okay. Now, if I talk about, the detailed historical context of Mulla Peria Dam. So, this dam is a 123-year-old dam and is located, 126 it is. It's located on the confluence of Mullayar and Periyar rivers in Kerala's Idukki district. The dam stands at a height of 53.66 meters and 365.85 meters in length. It is operated and maintained by Tamil Nadu for meeting the drinking water and irrigation requirements for 5 of its southern districts. According to a 999-year lease agreement made during the British rule, the operational rights were handed over to Tamil Nadu. And also the dam intends to divert the waters of west-flowing river Periyar eastward to arid shadow regions of Tamil Nadu. So these were some functional aspects of this river. Now talking about Peria River, which is also very important to understand in this context. So the Peria River is the longest river in the state of Kerala with a length of 244 kilometers. It is also known as the lifetime of Kerala lifeline of Kerala, as it is one of the few perennial rivers in the state. Okay. Now, what is a perennial river? So, a perennial river is a channel that has continuous flow in parts of its stream bed all year round. So, talking more about the Peria River, the Peria River originates from Sivgiri Hills of Western Ghats and flows through the Peria National Park. द मेन ट्रिब्यूटरीज जो है वो बहुत ज़रूरी है आपके लिए, तो एग्जाम के पर्सपेक्टिव से इसको याद रखिएगा. द मेन ट्रिब्यूटरीज ऑफ पेरियार आर मुथिरा पूझा, मुल्लायार, चेरुथोनी एंड पेरंजाकुती. Okay, so these are the tributaries of Peria River that you need to understand. अब हमने पेरियार रिवर की बात की, हमने मुल्ला पेरियार डैम की बात की, क्या इशू था उसकी बात की, सुप्रीम कोर्ट का क्या से है उसकी बात की, दोनों स्टेट्स का क्या से है उसकी बात की, लोकेशन देखा. एक बार जो है हम ये देखते हैं कि और कौन कौन से जो है वो डैम्स हैं वो यहाँ पे हैं. So here you can see this is the Mulla Periyar Dam, which is located here. And if we talk about Kerala's on the city, we have Idukki Dam here. And also in Tamil Nadu, you can see you have Vaigai Dam, which is very near to Theri. Now, while spillage from this 126-year-old Mulla Periyar Dam goes to Idukki Reservoir in Kerala via the Peria River, Tamil Nadu जो है, it evacuates the water through 4 giant pipes to Periyar Power Station and then to Kumbum Valley. अब कुंभम वैली जो है वो कहाँ लोकेटेड है, ये आप देख सकते हैं केरला और तमिलनाडु का is a very thin boundary. So here you have Kumbum Valley where the water is kind of evacuated. Okay. So yeah. अब अगर बात करें कि जो इंटर रिवर वाटर डिस्प्यूट्स होते हैं उसको कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनली लीगली उसका हैंडलिंग जो है वो कैसे किया जाता है. So the article 262 in this context of the Constitution of India specifies that the Parliament may by law provide for the adjugation of any dispute or complaint with respect to use, distribution or control of river valley. And Parliament may by law provide that neither the Supreme Court nor any other court shall exercise its jurisdiction over any such dispute. Now, this is something for you that you need to retain. Apart from that, there is one more information that is about Interstate River Water Dispute Act. ये act जो है वो 1956 में आया था, also called IRWD Act. इसको याद रखिएगा, ये बहुत ज़रूरी है. And this is an act of Parliament of India which was enacted under Article 262. Article 262 क्या है? अभी हमने समझा कि Article 262 जो है क्या है. You can screenshot it also. Okay. So, on the same line, Article 262 of the Constitution of India on the eve of recognition of state on linguistic basis to resolve water dispute that would arise in use, control and distribution of an interstate river. So, these are the two articles, an article and the act that is important for you to consider. मुल्ला पेरियार डैम जो है इसके बारे में जो इंफॉर्मेशंस दी गई हैं वो आप याद रखिए. पेरियार रिवर उसकी ट्रिब्यूटरीज इंपॉर्टेंट है. इशू क्या है वो आपने समझ लिया, लोकेशन आपने देख लिया और जो डैम्स हैं यहाँ पे उसको आपने समझ लिया, कहाँ पे वाटर डाइवर्ट हो रहा है वो भी आपने देख लिया. सो दीज वर सम ऑफ द इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग्स दैट वी डेल्ट थ्रू दिस आर्टिकल. नाउ मूविंग टुवर्ड्स द नेक्स्ट आर्टिकल, वी हैव एन आर्टिकल अबाउट आवर IAF, that is Indian Air Force, and there is going to be a breathtaking display by Sarang at Wings India 2022. Now, talking about the context, the highlight of the first day of Wings India 2022, which is going to be a 4-day civil aviation show by Ministry of Civil Aviation at Begumpet Airport at Hyderabad, was the aerobatics display which was put up by 3 pilots of the Indian forces. Now, if we talk about this display by IAF Sarang, so the 2 choppers flew training while plumed to create a heart-shaped formation. Now, let's talk about IAF and definitely about Sarang. So, So let me open up with the historical facts. So talking about the history, in 1933 it came as first operational squadron, and also our Indian Air Force is the 4th largest force in the world on about air. So in 1940s, after participation in World War II, which was during 1939 to 45, the Indian Air Force came to be called as Royal Indian Air Force. In 1950, it became Indian Air Force after the Republic. And that came into being in 1950. Okay, talking about some facts about Indian Air Force. Indian Air Force is the 4th largest in the world after USA, China and Russia, we just discussed. Headquarters कहाँ है? तो न्यू दिल्ली में है. मोटो क्या है हमारे IAF का? It is to touch the sky with glory, याद रखिएगा. And it was taken from the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The President of India holds the rank of Supreme Commander of the Air Force, and the Chief of Air Staff and Air Chief Marshal is responsible for the operation command of the Air Force. Talking about operations, after independence, IAF took part in wars with Pakistan and People's Republic of China. Again, something very important is ऑपरेशन मेघदूत. ऑपरेशन मेघदूत क्या है? तो 13 अप्रैल 1984 को जब इंडियन आर्मी along with the Indian Air Force and Parliamentary Force launched the Operation Meghdoot, and this Operation Meghdoot was launched to secure the control of the heights predominating the Siachen Glacier. ये आप याद रख सकते हैं. Also, IAF took part in relief operations during natural calamities such as Gujarat cyclone in 1998 and tsunamis. Now talking about Sarang, तो Sarang जो है, it is the helicopter air display team of the Indian Air Force that flies 4 modified HAL Dhruv helicopters, which are also known as Advanced Light Helicopter. The team was formed in October 2003, and जो इनका पहला performance था, that was at the Asian Aerospace Show, which was in Singapore in 2004. So these are some of the important informations to this article that you can retain. Again, something that is important from the perspective of your prelims examination. Now moving forward to page number 6, editorial sections. Either we do have articles that talk about geopolitical scenarios, Russia, Ukraine, or China stake and all, and otherwise we have things which are related to electoral context, not really important. In text and context also, not something that is very likable about discussion today. So where there's a section where you have the daily quiz. So you have some important informations about Bihar, given that Bihar has recently celebrated its Foundation Day on March 2022. So this becomes very important for you if you are someone who is preparing for Bihar Public Commission. So I'm not reading this for you. Again, something in very simple languages. You can have a read if you are interested. So moving forward again on page number 10, that is a news section, two very important articles, not from the context perspective but again for the concept perspective. So CPIM is to stand for Article 370. Just talking about the context a bit, the Communist Party of India, Marxist CPIM, generally it's the General Secretary of CPIM, Sitaram Yechuri, on Thursday said that his party would continue to oppose the dilution of Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir. So here let us understand Article 370. Okay. So again, आप जब आर्टिकल 370 को पढ़ेंगे तो उसको कैसे पढ़ना है ये आप एक बार समझ लीजिए. प्रीलिम्स के पर्सपेक्टिव से क्या आपके लिए ज़रूरी है, मेंस के पर्सपेक्टिव से क्या ज़रूरी है. तो प्रीलिम्स के पर्सपेक्टिव से आप आर्टिकल 370 के की फीचर्स और उनसे जो रिलेटेड फैक्चुअल इंफॉर्मेशन है उसको रिटेन कर सकते हैं. और मेंस के पर्सपेक्टिव से जो आर्ग्यूमेंट है फेवर में, अगेंस्ट में, फॉर व्हाई आर्टिकल 370 नीड्स टू बी रिमूव्ड एंड what is the right move and that can make an amendment to solve the issue, ये आपके लिए important है. क्वेश्चन कैसे पूछे जा सकते हैं, तो आपको इस तरीके के क्वेश्चन मिल सकते हैं that let's say critically comment on the history of Article 370 of Indian Constitution and at the same time highlight its implication and relevance. So at this time you can talk about the arguments and some of the informations, the key features of this article 370. So now let's decode what is Article 370. So Article 370 of the Indian Constitution is a temporary provision that grants special autonomous status to Jammu and Kashmir under Pact XXI, that's written in Roman, I guess it's 21, of the Constitution of India that deals with temporary, transitional and special provisions. The state of Jammu and Kashmir has been accorded special status under Article 370, and all the provisions of Constitution which are applicable to other states are also at the same time not applicable to J&K, that is Jammu and Kashmir. Okay. So now there are two things that we'll be talking about here. One, important provisions of this article, and at the same time Yeah, so important provisions of the article, and one more article we will be discussing, that is Article 35A. Let me tell you about this early. So Article 35A, it lets the, इसको भी याद रखिएगा, ये again ज़रूरी हो जाता है, इससे related at times quick tricky questions you have. So Article 35A, it lets J&K legislator decide the permanent residence of the state and prohibits a non-J&K resident from buying property in state and ensures job reservation for its residents. Yeah. Now talking about the provisions under this article. So according to this article, except for the defense, foreign affairs, finance and communication, Parliament needs the state government's concurrence for applying all other law in the state. Also, the state's residents live under a separate set of laws, including those related to citizenship, ownership of property and fundamental rights, as compared to other Indians. Also, Indian citizens from other states cannot purchase land or property in J&K. Under Article 370, the centre has no power to declare financial emergency under Article 360 in the state. It can declare emergency in the state only in case of war or external aggression. The Union emergency on grounds of internal disturbance or imminent danger, unless it is made at the request or with the concurrence of the state government. Also, under Article 370, Indian Parliament cannot increase or reduce the borders of the state. And at the same time, the jurisdiction of Parliament of India in relation to Jammu and Kashmir is confined to matters enumerated in Union list and also the concurrent list. Also, there is no state list for the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So these were some of the important provisions of Article 370. Again, a very important takeaway from this article. Now, let's talk about the next article that deals with FCRA. So, FCRA's registration of NGO has been intended. So, what's the context? The Ministry of Home Affairs, MHA, on Thursday extended the validity of FCRA, that is Foreign Contribution and Regulation Act. So let us understand about this act, which is again important from the perspective of your exam. तो ये जो एक्ट है ये और जो इससे रिलेटेड अमेंडमेंट है ये आपके एग्जाम दोनों प्रीलिम्स और मेंस दोनों ही पर्सपेक्टिव से इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है. तो पहले हम समझते हैं कि क्या आपके लिए प्रीलिम्स के पर्सपेक्टिव से इंपॉर्टेंट है और क्या मेंस के पर्सपेक्टिव से इंपॉर्टेंट है. तो प्रीलिम्स के पर्सपेक्टिव से आपके लिए ये फॉरेन कंट्रीब्यूशन रेगुलेशन एक्ट को समझना ज़रूरी है, विच वाज इन 2010. इसके अलावा NGOs का फंक्शनिंग एंड ऑल्सो द आर्टिकल 19 and 20 of the Constitution, and also about the right to free speech. From the mains perspective, you need to understand the issues related to cancellation of FCRA, registration of NGOs working in India, and at the same time controversies related to FCRA. So yeah, okay, now let's enlarge this article a bit so that for your better visibility. Okay, FCRA क्या है? FCRA को एक बार समझ लेते हैं. So, Foreign Contribution Regulation Act 2010, so it was about foreign funding of person in India is regulated under FCRA Act and is implemented by Ministry of Home Affairs. Yeah. So, why it is in news? So recently the Union Ministry of Home Affairs, MHA, has cancelled the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act 2010, registration of various non-governmental organization NGOs. Okay, so suspension of FCRA license का क्या मतलब है? Suspension of FCRA का मतलब है कि NGOs can no longer receive fresh foreign funds from donors pending a probe by the Home Ministry. तो जो FCRA है, it is mandatory for associations and NGOs to receive foreign funds. इसीलिए ये जो एक्ट है ये यहाँ पे आपके लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है अगेन इकोनॉमी के पर्सपेक्टिव से. अब अगर बात करें अमेंडमेंट की, तो अमेंडमेंट जो 2020 में हुआ उसके क्या प्रोविजंस थे? सो इट came with a prohibition to accept foreign contribution. The act bars public servants from receiving foreign contribution, and public servant includes any person who is in the service, let's say by the government or remunerated by the government for its service and serving the nation. So that includes the definition of public servant. So this was about its act and the amendment, and also the important things about this act. You can read in detail about this act through various governmental websites, let's say PIBNLs. So yeah, for now this is it for this article. You need to understand how can you bifurcate the understanding of this article for your prelims and mains perspective, and retain all the important information that we discussed here. So moving forward, let me, yeah, okay. So moving forward in page number 12 in the news section, again nothing really significant, but yeah, farm income fell in 4 states as said by the panel, and Jharkhand saw 30% drop in monthly earning, and with this MP Orissa and Nagaland also registers a similar kind of drop. So this is something that you can take as an information. And yeah, so coming forward to the next article, that is about India to be TB free by 2025, and this is said by our health minister on World Tuberculosis Day on Thursday, that the health ministry reaffirmed that government's commitment is there in making India a tuberculosis free by 2025, and it was said that will be achieved by ensuring access to quality health care and advanced treatments. Now let's talk about TB as a disease a bit. So TB is caused by a bacterium called Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and this belongs to Mycobacteria family consisting of about 200 members. Also, some of the Mycobacteria causes disease like TB and leprosy in humans, and other infect a wide range of animals. So, in humans, TB is most commonly TB most commonly affects the lungs. That is also called pulmonary TB. But at the same time, it can also affect the other organs, and this can be taken as extra pulmonary TB. So, TB is something which is a very ancient disease, and it has been documented to have existed in Egypt as early as 3000 BC. And however, TB is as a disease is something which is both curable and treatable. And at the same time, if I talk about the transmission of this disease, so TB is spread from person to person, communicable है, and also through air. When people with lung TB cough, sneeze, or spit, they more chances are there for the spreading of this disease. So yeah, some important information about this disease. You never know, that can serve as something life saving for you. So you can retain this from this article, and yeah. Moving forward to the next page on world news, again Russia-Ukraine crisis अभी भी चल रहा है. So we have West to bolster Ukraine aid as war enters the second month. Then we have something about India-China, and yeah, and then again, and just an information that the Solomon Island in China that bolster ties. So the Solomon Island has signed a policing deal with China, and the Solomon Island, I guess it's something which is so talking about Solomon Island, basically it's a nation of 100 islands in South Pacific, and it is willing to have its ties with China, and it has signed a policing deal with China, and it will send a proposal for border security agreement covering the military to its cabinet for consideration. So yeah, and you can understand this. This is an island nation, a South Pacific island nation. Moving forward, you have two very small informative articles. A, that humanitarian truce in Tigray for aid, and this is sent by Ethiopia. So Ethiopia's government on Thursday declared an indefinite humanitarian truce, which is to be in effect immediately, and said that it hoped to help hastened emergency aid into Tigray region where hundreds and thousands of people are facing starvation. At the same time, you have another article that is North Korea fires a new ICBM in largest test since 2017. So since 2017, this has been the largest ICBM by North Korea, and this was fired in terri-continental ballistic. This was fired as a terri-continental ballistic missiles on Thursday. Um, Now, Tokyo and Seoul said that they voiced outrage at Pyongyang's most powerful launch since 2017. Also, considering South Korea's military, it said that it had fired missiles from ground, sea, and air in response. And at the same time, Pyongyang has launched nearly a dozen of weapon tests in this year as an unprecedented speed in defiance of UN sanctions. So this just world happenings around. So yeah, something again which is very informative. In a business section, nothing significant for today. Yeah, India will need 2210 new aircrafts the next 2 decades. In next 2 decades, this is said by Airbus, and the country might require additional 34,000 pilots and 5,000 technicians by 2040. Again, there is a small informative analytics in the business section that is about the firm should adopt retention strategies to curb registration. Now, as we see that the great resignation has been taking place in last over 3 quarters. Why it is that after the COVID-19, now people could better understand what they wanted from their work and what kind of employers they were willing to stick with. So, with the increase in talent war in an open job market, the need for organizations to overcome the great resignation with great retention strategies increases. Now, let us talk about this retention strategy. What is a retention strategy? So, the retention strategies are those strategies that create job satisfactions among the employees, that may be onboarding and orientation, let's say the mentorship programs, perks, employee compensation, wellness offerings, continuous feedback or performance ideas, communication, training, and development ideas. So, these are some of the retention strategies that can curb the resignation which is ongoing after this COVID-19 change. Again, this is something that is important from the perspective of analytics. You can have something like this as a part of your analysis in your examination. So, again, this is an important article for you to read. Now, moving forward in sports section, we do not have anything significant today. So, we are stopping here for now. Let's meet tomorrow again. And for the time being, if you like our video, do like, share, and subscribe this channel. And also press the bell icon so that you can keep yourself updated with whatever we bring for you. Thank you and have a nice day.